Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1850A, and today's date is April 24th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Fed Losing Control, Jobs Returning, Restructure Coming. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about crypto, stocks, binary options, gold. There has never been a better time in history to trade these financial instruments. Trade Genius over the last 30 days has netted its traders over 50% on their money from spot-on trades. For example, Trade Genius issued a buy signal on SNGLS BTC right here, which netted traders a 39% profit gain. And they issued a buy signal here on GTO for a 7.78% gain. And another buy signal here on MANA BTC for a 14% gain, which is absolutely incredible. If you've never traded before and want to take advantage of these types of profits every day in the market, I urge you to sign up for one of the many Trade Genius online educational courses. It's perfect for yourself or a loved one. Take control of your financial future. Discover the lucrative world of trading and receive personal coaching with Trade Genius Bob Kudla and Philip Cleaver. Right now through April for their Easter specials, you can save 50% off their bundled specials and or use their promo code Easter for 40% off all non-bundled items. Check out TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Tell them X22 sent you, and don't forget to use the promo code Easter. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, what a difference 2.5 years makes. When Trump was first coming into the presidency, everything was stacked against him. The deep state was completely in control. The central bankers were completely in control, and they were calling the shots. Today, everything has turned around. And yes, they're still calling for impeachment. Yes, they're still trying to get him. But this is going to be a failed attempt. The central bank right now is completely under the control of the patriots. It's no longer under the control of the deep state. Everything has been completely turned upside down, and these people, they don't know what to do. And Trump and the patriots, they have set this up perfectly. Think about what they have done. The reason why Trump is continually tweeting out and how great the economy is because he's setting up a narrative. He's setting up a blockade where the mainstream media, the central bank, and everyone else, they can't do anything about this. Remember, the biggest issue, no matter what the mainstream media tells you, no matter what anyone tells you, is the economy. Because when people lose money, people pay attention. When people aren't making money, people pay attention. When people don't have jobs, people pay attention. When people are losing jobs, people pay attention. So the economy is the basis of everything. And then there's other things that offshoot from there. And this is why Trump made it a point to make sure that he has complete and utter control of the economy. This way, the mainstream media, the central bank, the deep state, and many other players, they can't do anything about it. They have been blocked. He has set up this huge wall, and boy, this wall is gigantic, where they can't even touch his economy. They thought they were going to touch it with the central bank. They thought they were going to touch it with the central bank raising rates. But now, that is completely off the table. And this is why Trump is continually tweeting out. I mean, take a look at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ composite. They reached new all-time highs. I mean, since 2016, the Dow is up 45%. So on Election Day, 2016, November 8th, the Dow closed at 18,332 points. Yesterday, the Dow closed at 26,656? And Trump tweeted out the following. In the old days, if you were the president and you had a good economy, you were basically immune from criticism. Remember, it's the economy, stupid. Today, I have as president perhaps the greatest economy in history. And to the mainstream media, it means nothing. But it will. Now think about that for a second. He's telling everyone that this economy is so fantastic that it does mean something. Now, is he talking about the central bank economy, or is he talking about the new economy that he's ushering in? Well, it's the new economy that he's ushering in, and he's going to change everything that we know about the economy. That's where we are headed. And this is why he has pushed and pushed and pushed to take control of the economy. When people thought there was nothing going on with the central bank, nothing going on with anything, he used all their manipulation, all their magical weapons with the magic wand to control the outcome of the economy. And he will control this through the 2020 election. And the mainstream media, the central bank, the deep state, they all know this. They cannot do anything about this. While this wall is up and blocking them, behind the wall, he is changing everything for the better. He's redoing all the trade deals. He's bringing back jobs, deregulating, and pushing his economic vision. And he's using tariffs and other weapons to get what he wants. And it looks like it is working. The U.S. manufacturing economy continues to expand and thrive. And Trump's policy targeted to benefit middle-class workers, it is working. And we can see from what he has been doing with tariffs and deregulation, it is strengthening the U.S. auto sector. And we're starting to see the benefits of it. What just happened? A German auto supplier is expanding its operations in Michigan with a new manufacturing facility in Plymouth Township. The Michigan Economic Development Corp governing body approved a $2.7 million performance-based grant to Webasto Roof Systems, a subsidiary of the Webasto Group, a sunroof convertible top and heating systems manufacturer. And the company plans to invest nearly $48 million into the new building. And they're going to create 441 new jobs there, obtaining several contracts from Ford and Fiat Chrysler. What is this going to do? This is going to help the area. And this is just the beginning. Many other companies are coming back. Now, of course, this is a slow process because remember, just because you deregulate, just because you give a tax incentive, the companies have to see and watch and look at what is going on. Now, since the Mueller report has come out and there's no obstruction, there's no collusion, we can expect that companies now, they're going to say, you know something, we see the benefits. Trump is going to be there. Everything the mainstream media, everything they've been saying has not come true, and everything that he's been saying has come true. But we know that Trump, he still has to keep the central bank system. That's what we're in right now. He has to keep this system chugging along. And we're starting to see now that mortgage apps, they are plunging, and they plunged the most in over 3 years. Why? Because Trump stopped the rates from moving up. We're in a holding pattern, but the rates, the mortgage rates, I should say, they're still ticking up. And this is why I do believe he's going to have the Fed cut rates sooner than later. We see that the trade talks with China, they are going very well. We know that Mnuchin and Lighthizer, they'll be heading out to China in May, and the talks will cover trade issues including intellectual property, forced technology transfer, non-tariff barriers, agriculture, services, purchases, and enforcement. And they're saying the cake is almost baked. They almost have a deal, and I think this next round, they will have a deal. And you know what comes after this? Once China is doing what they say they're doing, Trump then will remove the tariffs. Now, will this happen, right after the deal is made? No, he's going to wait a little bit to make sure they're absolutely doing what they promised to do. Now, during this whole period, Trump has completely trapped the Fed, and they have no way out. Actually, they're losing control over everything. And something unexpected has been going on in the overnight funding markets. Since March 20th, the effective Fed funds rate has been trading above the IOER, which is the interest rate on excess reserves. And this is not supposed to happen. As a reminder, ever since the financial crisis, in order to push the effective funds rate above zero at a time of trillions in excess reserves, the Fed was compelled to create a corridor system for the Fed funds rate, which was bound on the bottom and top by two specific rates controlled by the Federal Reserve. Now, the floor for the corridor was the overnight reverse repurchase rate, ONRRP, which usually coincides with the lower bound of the Fed funds rate, while on top, the effective funds rate is bound by the rate the Fed pays on excess reserves. That's the theory, anyhow. But in practice, the effective Fed funds tends to occasionally diverge from this corridor, and when it does, it prompts fears that the Fed is losing control over the most important instrument available, the price of money, which is set via the Fed funds rate. And this is what's happening to the Fed right now. What does this mean? This means they have to do one or two things. They have to cut interest rates, or the Fed would either have to end the balance sheet runoff a lot sooner than the fall. They would have to end it sometime in the summer, and they would have to lower the interest rates. Basically, what Trump has done here with forcing them to do something that they normally wouldn't do in this environment where their entire system is falling apart, because we know their system is only designed to go for a certain period of time and then it implodes. Remember, we were on track to implode. The economy was not really getting better, it was getting worse. Trump used their manipulation to make it look like the economy was doing a lot better, and he stopped the Fed from doing what they normally would do. That would be crash the economy. He had them reverse everything they were doing, and this way they couldn't crash the economy, but now they're stuck because this is their system that they created, and the system can't move forward any longer. And Trump is making them do things that they wouldn't do at this time because they know their system is done for. That's why they wanted an event. That's why they wanted to crash the system. That's why they wanted to get rid of a lot of this debt. That's why they wanted to bring us to war. And Trump has now trapped them. When we talk about how the Fed is exposed, they are really exposed. They're exposed on all fronts. And there's no way out of this. And he's setting up the perfect storm to audit the Fed. Because when the system comes down, and Trump has been pushing the system to look incredible, and he's probably going to put this into overdrive as we get closer and closer to 2020. I would even be surprised if unemployment and everything else looks better than it does right now. And he'll do this on purpose because right after the elections, and I don't mean the day after, I mean maybe a couple of months, all of a sudden the Fed is going to start to do things. Trump is going to start to blame them over and over and over that they're ruining the economy. They don't know what they're doing. They're confused. They lost control. They can't figure out how to work the economy. He's going to continually push this out over and over and over to convince the people. And what's going to happen? He's going to drive this into an audit. He's going to drive this into restructuring the Fed. He's going to drive this through the transition, because this is the plan. This is what he has to do. We can't stay in this system. The central bank system breeds corruption, creates these intelligence organizations and the deep state where they just keep feeding themselves free money, and they keep stealing and stealing because why? The central bank allows it. They can borrow as much as they want. Yes, I know the central bank comes back to Congress and says, well, they're borrowing, they should stop that. No, Congress got corrupt because they have an unlimited credit card. And why would they want to stop this? They're becoming wealthier and wealthier. They don't care if they put the country into debt. They're becoming wealthy. And these people can't see past that. But if we had a checks and balance system where everything was accounted for and you just couldn't create currency out of thin air, guess what? Where would they get their funds? They couldn't. Because there's no more to get. This is what's allocated. And you have to show results from what was allocated. You just can't say, well, that whole program for $3 billion went down the tubes. Let's borrow another $3 billion. And of course, most of this money is siphoned off into many different companies, then brought back to them so they can make themselves wealthy. So you can see the patriots, Trump, they set this whole thing up to trap the central bank, to trap the deep state, and to cut them off. And what do we see happening? Jobs are returning. Restructure is coming. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.